secret of living life at its peak. Astamine. Get healthier.
Welcome back. I'm now being joined, like I said, by Kunle Ajayi, who is the head accounting and reporting Fidson Healthcare PSA. Of course, he's been with us and he knows the figures offhand as far as the company is concerned. He told us the other time that it's been 20 years in the company. So you are welcome to the platform again.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
All right, good afternoon. So, Fidson's right issue is ongoing.
Yeah.
When is it when is it going to be rounding off?
That will be April 9th.
April 9th.
Yeah.
So I got it right when I
Yeah.
said, okay, because I was a little bit confused. I
correct.
was thinking whether
Very
9th or 19th.
Yeah, 9th
Right.
of
Having said that, specifically, how much is being raised now? I'm not so talking about the quantity of shares, but in monetary terms, all right? Because at the end, you guys are those that will sit down, look at how the funds will be disbursed, and you monitor how it is used. And then, because at the end, the marketers, the operations people, everybody will bring their report back to you guys. You are so important, all right? So how much are we expecting at the end of this exercise? Let's start from there.
Okay, so we are expecting 3 billion naira from the right issue, and of course, you are aware of the fact that we have plans on how that will be utilized.
Let us talk about those how. So I mean, I don't want to agree you have plans. These plans, let us know this plan.
Okay, so let me start with that. The 3 billion we are bringing in, we are going to be using 1.8 billion, that's about 60% of the proceeds, to pay off some of our expensive loans. I discussed it the other time. Some of the challenges we're having as an organization is our finance cost is rising because of some of expensive loans we have in our books. And we have looked at it in order for us to be able to fund our expansion and also return something substantial to the shareholder. We look at it that it is better for us as an organization to go the way of right issue. I mean, some of the little principles we are taught in financial management is that when you have funding expansion, you are looking for working capital, it is always better for you to look for equity and some long-term loans that is very, very cheap. So I think that is what the company is also doing. By the time we take 60% of the proceeds to pay off some of our expensive loans, the implication of that is that our finance costs will be reducing up to 25%. And if that happens, the implication is that the company can now sit back and say, okay, we have gained this so much from savings in finance costs, and that's the management can decide, or the board, when the time comes, we are going to pay this so dividend, to the shareholder. So it is a step in the right direction for us to actually utilize part of the fund to pay off some of those expensive loans, and the balance is used as to augment our working capital. So
let me ask you one question. I know that pharmaceutical is basically a credit business whereby you are always looking for money because you will manufacture and give to your distributors to now pay you back, all right? And Nigerians, for who we are, including you and me and everyone, it is easier to access loan or to owe someone. Payment is always an issue. That's why many banks ended up folding up. Because Nigerians will borrow, and then some will go and buy cars, some will marry the second wife, some will have multiple girlfriends, some will have, will travel overseas with borrowed funds. Now, for all that I know, why? the newspaper that I do is also a credit business. Now, I do always pity any company that is into such business, in the sense that for newspaper, you will supply vendor, first, second, third, fourth issue, before you now begin to assess the money for the first edition you give them. And now maybe you are expecting 30,000 from a particular vendor. From the first issue, you will now say, oh God, there is no money, take 3,000, take 4,000. All right? So, and I know that it is very possible it is the same way in the pharmaceutical business, aside from the challenge of imported items and adulteration of products. Is there going to come a time that expensive loan will be totally eradicated from the book of Fidson, even if this is successful, and I know it will be successful?
Yeah. Okay, let me answer the first.
Seeing the structure, the nature of the business.
Yeah. You see, from the way things are going in the industry basically is a credit-based industry. Anybody who is into manufacturing of pharmaceutical products, the major people who are responsible for offtake of those products, I mean in terms of distributors and the institutions, all of them, they expect you to extend credit to them before they will be able to transact business. I mentioned the other time I came to the program that some of the categories of customers we're having issues with has to do with the institutions, the general hospitals, the private hospitals, and the likes of them. These people are always asking for credit. And because we also need them as a business to survive, so credit of 60 days, 90 days is extended to them, especially the government. The government one is much more difficult because
it's most
difficult. At times, 3 months they're on strike and nothing's happening. So it's very, very difficult, and that is the reason why you need to be financially buoyant to be able to support, to have adequate fund for your working capital. Because by the time you bring in funds and you have produced and you have supplied these people and it's taking them 90, 120 days to return your fund, if you look at a working capital cycle, you know that is just stuck in receivables. And if you are not able to convert your receivable to cash so as to be able to start another production, it becomes difficult, and that is the major challenge. And that is why for us as an organization, we have looked at it that the only way to be able to put ourselves in the best position to manage this is for us to have sufficient working capital to cushion the effect of people who will not pay as and when due, especially when there are challenges. So it's something that we are working on, and I believe at some point as an organization and also in the industry, that will be like other industry that if you don't bring your money, you will not be able to, access some of those products. That is the best. Because I can imagine if what I have in our receivables today becomes cash, this exercise may not be necessary. You may not even need anybody to say, okay, I needed additional fund. That may not be necessary because it means that you will be able to plan, you'll be able to project and be able to say, okay, this is what we're going to do, knowing fully that money is going to come in as and when due. Until that happens, it's going to be very, very difficult. At some point, you may have to bring in funds to augment your working capital, the working capital eroded by devaluation and all of those. A lot of things happen, and doing business in Nigeria is very, very difficult.
But Fidson has survived
so
far.
We've survived.
Let me now ask you this question. Now, I believe that this rights will be very successful,
very,
and
very
will
successful.
even get more than the 3 billion we're talking about. Now, when you decide to pay off expensive loans, and you also have enhanced working capital, the in thing that investors want to know is that, yes, bottom line is only a measure of your market share. I mean, the top line rather is a measure of your top line, is a measure of your market share, all right? But the bottom line is where the dividend can come from. So what is the projection? How much are you foreseeing that, if this exercise, eventually when it is completed and it is rounded off, this is what investors should expect from the second quarter or the third quarter of this company going forward?
Okay, so from our projections for 2019, for instance, we, as an organization, the turnover last year was 16 billion, and we are looking at this year to do 20 billion. And in doing that, we have also projected our PBT. You know, we have also projected our PBT, and the projected PBT is going to lead to any per share that is going to be in the neighborhood of 100 naira to 100, between 100 naira and 120 naira. If, I mean, 120 kobo, you know.
1 naira 20.
1 naira 20 kobo, you know, if that is achieved. So, we have also looked at it that in order for us to be able to achieve that, there is need for us to bring in funds to pay expensive loan, as I've said, and also add the balance to the working capital.
Yeah.
The impact of that, we build that we'll be having some savings from the finance cost, which is the major cost that is, you know, really dragging the profit down.
Which is standing at like how much?
It used to be 5%, but now has grown up to about 10-11%.
Holy Spirit.
And it then technically means that what should be part of our bottom line is being taken by finance cost. You know, it's being taken out by finance cost.
And you need this finance cost to remain in business as a leader.
As a leader, it's very, very important, because at times some decision must be taken. You need to bring in some funds, and those short-term funds that you are bringing in to augment your working capital, they are very, very expensive. But if you have your own fund in form of right issue that is ongoing, if you have all of those funds, I can categorically tell you that we'll be fine. And
so,
you know, the
if I
business
quote
expectation
well,
will be met.
if I heard you well, at the completion of this, let us say audited account 2019, which will be released as at, in March of 2021. We're expecting the earning per share of Fidson Healthcare to be within the range.
Yes, that's
cannot be specifically.
Yes,
all right.
It's going to be within that
1 naira 20 kobo.
20 kobo.
And this is where equity analysis comes in. And this is also where long-term valuation comes into existence and consideration. Now, what you are investing in as far as the rights issue of Fidson is concerned is not the current earning per share that might be stated. All right? The earning per share might be, what was your 2007 earning per share? 71 kobo.
Yeah.
All right? So what you are investing in is a future earning per share of 1 naira 20 kobo. Now, what you will now do is to consider whether earning per share of 1 naira 20 kobo would justify the price at which you are buying, which is just 4 naira. Now, let me tell you what the earning per share will do. When you relate it with the price that you are buying, so the future PE ratio will actually be in the region of 3.2, 3.5, plus or minus. And that means that if in earnings alone, you can get your investment back in, let's say, 3.5 years. Take the stock and the price and this projected earning into any market in the world. I've traded the American market, I've traded the UK market, and I've done that by the grace of God since 1997. Such equity will be underpriced. That is why I am the oracle. I've just spoken, but it is left in your court whether you will take it or not. What I've seen as problems in Nigeria is that until the reality becomes true, people don't look for stock. And what you should do is that you invest against expectation, not against reality. Those who invest against expectation are the real investors, and they're the ones that do get the best of returns. Now, if you take the opportunity now, when it becomes reality, and then the late starters begin to rush in, well, you just sell a portion of what you have bought to them. That is the way it works in the Nigerian market that I've seen. But I'm not done with Kunle Ajayi. I hope you are not because of my questions.
No,
Now, we
no
got to
problem.
hear that the federal government is granting Fidson tax holiday on some of the products that will be coming out from the Otter factory. True or false?
Yeah, that's very correct. That's
All right.
very correct.
That much Yomi Adebanjo told us the other time he was here, and he said it was on a particular line. I'm not going to be asking you what line because I know you are not an operation person. I will request that the operation people should come and then we'll talk about that. I will put the question to them. But what I'm interested in, what you should be able to tell us is that, well, in Naira and Kobo, this tax holiday will come in as profit.
Yeah.
How much is the company expecting?
So let me start. The tax holiday, I think to my best of knowledge, cut across all our operations over there at the factory. So the implication is that we may be having a tax holiday as an organization. We may be having a tax holiday
for about 3 years,
yes,
I was told.
Yes, for the entire business of the organization. If you look at that, started from 2017, we paid tax 2017, and the implication is that we are going to have tax refund for 2017.
Wow.
Yeah, we are going to have tax refund for 2017. And when that is completed, the tax refund of about 400 million naira for 2017 is coming back to us as an organization. Then 2019, the tax projection is in the neighborhood of 800 to 1 billion naira. That is also a savings for us, because if you look at the projections we have done in terms of PBT, and if you just take on a straight line the 32% on it, it's going to be in the neighborhood of about 900 to 1 billion naira. That is a saving that is coming back to us as an organization.
This amount you have just mentioned now should be more than half of the 3 billion you expect to get in the right.
So that is it. So I can tell people that, you see, authoritatively, that good days are ahead of us as an organization.
Very good.
And if there's any time to invest in Fidson, I think this is the right time.
This is the right time. And you see, I hope if we continue to stay here till tomorrow morning, those that we hear, we hear. Those that we not, they will not. All right? But I think we've done what we need to do. And that is the commitment I have to Nigerians. We're talking about access. For how long on this platform? Many people said, Abayomi. They will have even probably thought I took bribe. But last week, the equity began to gain. And I don't know. I have said what I need to say. The ball is in your court. The stock is there on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The right is there. And there's a process through which you can actually buy rights of those who might not be able to pick their right. All right? Only last word before I allow you to go attend to the auditors in your office. Last word before I allow you to go.
Okay, I just want to encourage all our shareholders to pick up their rights. If there is any time to invest in Fidson Healthcare PLC, as I've said, this is the right time. Go out there, take your right, and you can be rest assured that you never regret that decision. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Thank you, Kunle.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right. So I hope to see you not too long from now. I've been speaking with Kunle Ajayi, who is the head accounts and reporting Fidson Healthcare PLC. I'm so satisfied in my mind that we've been able to bring this to your notice. And I'm telling you the truth, this is about the only platform I monitor media too will have put all these things in perspective to the best of your understanding. And that is what we have done. So it is in your own hands to go and take decisions. Talkswatch Weekly newspaper is out there on the vendors. Please ensure you get a copy. Why? You will be reading the lead story that has to do with the fact that the National House of Assembly, as at today, have approved, so to speak, the 30,000 naira minimum wage for Nigerian workers. We are only waiting for the assent of Mr. President, who will land, is currently out of the country for whatever reason. If that is achieved, what will be the impact on the economy? And of course, what will be in the impact on the market? Not that alone. We also heard that the federal government is increasing the value added tax. And when this is achieved, I don't criticize the government per se. What I try to do is understand what the government is trying to achieve and then try as much as possible to explain to the understanding of the populace, because most people don't even understand government policies. They don't take into perspective the considerations, but just because they are not in government or maybe they belong to another party, they come to the open and begin to lambast the government. I don't do that. It is not my responsibilities to say government is doing well or not, but when there are policies from the government, what I want to do is to ensure that I look at it very critically and let the public understand what the policy is all about, which is what we have done on the pages of Stocks Watch weekly newspaper. Maybe next week we'll still be discussing this on this platform also. But for now, go and get